Hi, and welcome to a new episode of Gideon's Opinion. Today, we're not going to talk about configuration management databases because I've got some other stuff that I'm busy with. And over the weekend, I was busy tinkering at a new blog, and the idea behind the blog is to investigate the concept of cloud operations a little bit further and to look at what you can do and where you can go with this cloud ops thing, and it kind of hooked back to a questionnaire that I put out on LinkedIn a few weeks ago, where I was asking the question if ITSM will be replaced by technologies like IT operations management, and the responses was kind of mixed. I mean, there was not anything conclusive out of it, so there's nothing really to conclude from it. But it did kind of lead me to the place where I noticed that there's quite a strong division, and I can understand that. I mean, I have a lot of vested interest in IT service management. I've been in that space for many years, for a couple of decades, and I did a lot of work with various companies in that space: Hewlett Packard, BMC, ServiceNow, and the there's a heavy investment in knowledge that you make, and heavy cost investment as well. So it's not just a question of having your ideas disrespected or anything like that, but our minds go into specific grooves and our minds go into specific canals, which prevents us from actually thinking outside of that and moving outside of that. So when I got involved with One Pain earlier this year, at the beginning of the year, to me it was really refreshing working with technologies which is kind of parallel technologies to the whole ITSM kind of vibe. And in that, it's really heavily focused on cloud, and it's really heavily focused on how we can make life better for organizations that are using cloud and have to handle the complexities of cloud. So that is a very long explanation just to bring you to the point of where I actually wanted to go. And as part of that, I'm not a English first language speaker, and because of that, sometimes I do make horrible mistakes in what I'm saying. Sometimes I use wrong tenses. Sometimes I even use wrong words and stuff like that, which is, to me, it's kind of acceptable as it's my second language and nearly my third language. So it's not something that I feel terrible about or anything like that. But if I put out blogs, then it's really important for me to kind of put it into decent English. So what I do is I actually use some tools to assist me with that. I have some tools that helps me to fix my grammar, and I also utilize ChatGPT. So ChatGPT to me is quite a brilliant usage for what I want, in the sense that what it helps me to do is to really quickly organize my mind and say, these are the kind of things that I want to do. Help me to provide an outline. I can utilize that outline then. And then at the end of the day, it helps me to check my grammar, which is really useful for me. So while dealing with this, however, I sort of got struck by this thing of it's not quite an aha moment or anything like that, but I just really got struck by the realization that that uh, AI ops or AI is fulfilling a really important piece in what's busy happening now. And organizations that understand the linkage between AI and where we want to go as organizations in servicing our customers in the best possible way are really applying their minds to how to make it better. And part of how to make it better is to get rid of the mistakes that people make. That's horrible, but the reality is that kind of the job security that I had as somebody who was working with ITSM to a large degree will at some stage become really redundant. And the reason why it will become redundant is not because there's anything wrong with me, but it's just that many of the things that I know from my experience is ending up in a database somewhere. And because my experience is ending up in a database, it means it's something that AI can start making use of. And organizations who want to win will have to adapt. And by that, I don't mean they must put a .ai behind their name, because that's not adapting. I saw this historically with some of the companies that I worked for, where there's organizations who had their way of doing things. And when there's competition that came with a different way of doing it, a foundationally and a fundamentally different way of doing it, they were not able to adapt. And because they were not able to adapt, they eventually lost market share, and they grew a lot less profitable because of that. So where does this take us? I don't think that ITSM will ever become redundant. I just think that we will start probably calling it something else. And the reason why we'll probably start calling it something else is because if you speak to an organization, you say to them, listen, guys, we have an IT service management offering. We are doing ABC. Many of those organizations would just look at you and say, yeah, but I've already got one. I've got ServiceNow, or I've got this, or I've got that, or I've got that, or I've got that. But to me, a really important thing is to work out what's really important to customers. So, in other words, what are the pieces that we can do in what we are building, which can optimally replace me, and in the process of replacing me, give more value to the end customer. Doesn't mean that it'll replace me completely out of this world. No, because there's some other stuff that I can still do. I'm not most developers are not just developers who can do something, or architects or anybody like that are people who can just do one thing, but they have many strings to their bows. But in this case, what we really need to consider is that inevitably we'll go to the place where we have to adapt to AI. We have to make sure as an organization, or as organizations, that we have the data that we need in order to be able to drive AI. And we need to be sure that as the ultimate vision of that, that the people who are serviced by that are our customers. And those customers would be the end customers, or it could be our customers internally within the organization who want to understand the state of the services, or whatever the case might be. But I just want to leave that with you guys. It's time to change. And it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be simple, and it's going to have significant impact on our lives in information technology space. So put on your hard hats, put on your combat boots, and let's get out there and go and make a difference with what we are doing in our specific place.